Amsterdamned is a Dutch slasher film directed by Maas. Yes, that's his real name. A detective residing in Amsterdam has to investigate a series of murders caused by a scuba diving slasher who hides in the canals of the city. Howdy folks, welcome back to Garage Slasher-thon, where every day for the month of October we revisit a slasher movie. Today we're talking about Amsterdamned. This is a Dutch slasher film. If you don't like subtitles, don't watch this, obviously. This is the movie that James Cameron wished he made. It has everything James Cameron loves, and by everything, I mean water. Just kidding, James Cameron wouldn't like this movie. Because it's not beautiful coral reef and shit like that. It's like ugly sewage water that boats are on, and it's like gross and gnarly. And it has actually a good message about pollution, so maybe James Cameron might like it. Overall, this movie was a fun time. It's campy, it's cool, it's a mix of different genres. It overall just feels like a good ad for Amsterdam. I don't know why, like, they have to remind you all the time that this takes place in Amsterdam. There's a poster on the wall, Amsterdam. There's a thing here, Amsterdam. Always Amsterdam, Amsterdam, Amsterdam. They have to constantly remind you that this is the city of the film. I know it's in Amsterdam. Your fucking title is Amsterdamned, which is actually a good title. I like it in some way. But I feel like in another way, it kind of just makes the movie a little more campy than what it's supposed to be. Kind of cheapens the film. Because I feel like it's a step above like a cheap slasher movie. I actually think this is a legit good movie. Movie opens and you have like this really gruesome slashing going on. And then it ends with the victim getting hung over a bridge. And then there's a tour boat that's going around, and this girl's decapitated body is just dragged across the tour boat, and blood is going everywhere, and there's children on the boat and shit. That's a hell of a way to open a movie. I like that. But anyway, like I said, this is like a mix of a bunch of different stuff. That's kind of what I like about slashers from like here on out. They kind of like do slashing, but they kind of mix with other genres. Like when we talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, it was like fantasy mixed with slasher. And this is kind of like a detective film, like a French Connection or a Bullet, just mixed with a slasher. It's like as if the characters from the French Connection are trying to solve a slasher murder, which is really fun to watch. I kind of like this vibe of like this grisly old detective, kind of like a Dirty Harry, this hard-boiled cop who just wants to do his job. And he's not really the most ethical man out there, but he's gonna get the job done. When we're introduced to him, he's like arresting someone at a bakery, and he just like destroys someone's cake, and he's like, "Hey, my cake, what's the matter with you?" And he's just like, well, whatever, grabs a croissant and like leaves. I like that kind of character, the kind of, I don't give a shit. But yeah, at home he has a kid that he's neglecting all the time. He's always hitting on girls, and the girls are like, "Don't you have a daughter at home?" And he's just, she's fine. She can take care of herself. I leave her at home all the time. While he's on the job, he's drinking and he's hitting on chicks. But they don't overdo it. They do just the right amount. It's just enough to make you kind of fall in love with his character, but not also like buy the fact that he's a really good cop. Can't help but love the guy. He's a very likable protagonist. And just like a movie like The French Connection is known for its really good car chase, and Bullet and Dirty Harry is really known for their action, this movie is no exception. Yes, it's a slasher movie. The slashes are very satisfying, but what really captured my attention was the car chase, firstly. You have like these kind of small car chases, which are always kind of exciting to watch. The latest Mission Impossible just did that. But the one people always go back to is the Italian Job, both the original and the remake. This one has that kind of car chase, and it's really on the edge of your seat action. But that's not the biggest action set piece. The biggest one is a beautifully shot boat chase that's just going through the canals of the city. And there's a bunch of narrow misses going in small areas. Even at some point, a character fell off the boat and he's hanging a la Indiana Jones with his whip. He's just being like fucking pummeled by water. And then there's like, they're jumping on the sidewalks and everything. It's a beautifully filmed movie, especially when it comes to its action. But yeah, like I said, it's a slasher movie at the end of the day, in my opinion. And the slashes are satisfying. You have your masked slasher. This time it's a guy in a scuba diver outfit, which is kind of reminiscent of My Bloody Valentine, where it was a miner outfit. Here it's a scuba diver. And there's one part in the movie where a girl is like on a floaty, like on like an inflatable boat kind of thing. And he just takes the knife and slashes it through the boat. It's implied, we don't see it, but cuts her hoochie coochie, if you know what I mean. It's not a perfect movie. There are parts that drag. There's like this whole subplot that the kid leaves the house to hang out with a boy called Willie, and they're like hanging out by the dock, and you think they're gonna get slashed, but nothing happens, and they just leave, and you're like, why was that in the movie? Like, literally pointless. There's moments like that, and it does slow down. It's a 2-hour long movie, but it could have been a 90-minute movie. But that said, it's a really well-made movie. It kind of goes unnoticed because the reason why I included this movie in the marathon is I felt like there wasn't enough foreign language movies. And whenever I do a marathon, I try to do that. I remember when I did Zombie-thon, I feel like I didn't have enough international movies. Like, I had One Cut of the Dead, but then I was like, I need one more, and I found this, like, little Nigerian zombie movie, and I just threw it in there for... So I kind of did that with the slasher movies, too. I'd just try to find, like, a random slasher movie from different countries. And there's more coming up when it comes to that. There's one from Japan and one from Hong Kong. Yeah, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for me Googling slasher movie, not American or international slasher movies, I wouldn't have found this movie. This is definitely like better than Friday the 13th, but no one talks about Amsterdam. Do you know what I mean? The reason why this is a good slasher movie too is because it actually has a satisfying conclusion. All these slasher movies that have like a stupid ending at the end, this one has a twist, and it works. It has a good message. Turns out this guy got disfigured because back when there was like a spill that happened, they told him that the chemical inside the water was harmless, just go clean it up. Turns out it was like uranium, and his face got deformed, and that's why he's a killer on the loose. It had a really good twist at the end. I hate it when they try to make it like this whodunit, and it's just like, oh yeah, it was the old grandma from the beginning of the movie. And you're just like, huh? Y'all are getting your ass kicked by an old grandma? Y'all are pussies. So yeah, it avoids that. Guys, watch this movie. I recommend it. It's a fun time. Go watch Amsterdamned and tell the folks at home that it's Garage Movie Club that told you to watch it. Subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Dat kan nog een leuk feestje worden van de zomer.